What is up, everybody? Welcome to the Burndown YouTube channel. We are back at it again on the 480E here on the Maliboom. There's probably going to be quite a few episodes in this series if you're following along. So we left off with the transmission sitting on some blocks. I kind of cut a hole just to look at stuff for the most part, and I had some ugly on the floor pan. So what we're going to do today, which I've decided, I took yesterday off, had a little time to think about it, and then I read the comments and stuff, and one guy in particular, sorry that I don't know your name offhand, he was like, yeah, you might want to put some space in there for heat, otherwise it might transfer into the cabin, which is a great idea. And the other thing too is I wanted space for a blanket. So I think today's goal is we will leave the thing on the blocks where it is, right? So I think the driveline angle is decent for what it is. So we're sitting here hanging out. I think what I'd like to do is, I got my string and I got some magnets. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a string line roughly from the, the center of this, center-ish, back to the yoke, right? That's going to give me a visual, and then I could technically measure from the string to see how much room we have till it gets into anything, because there's like a brace underneath here. The further away it gets from here, the more the travel is going to affect where the driveline is. Right up front here, it barely moves. It's damn near stationary. And then, at like this point here, your drive shaft's not going to move that much. But a little bit here is a lot out on the end. It's basically kind of exponential, right? So back here, you need to make sure you have some room. So I think if we run the string line, kind of see where it's at. I can always bring the rear of the car up. I have it. I might have to come up anyway. I have adjustable shocks and holes for suspension. I like it nice and low. I think it looks good, but if we gotta put a little bit bigger tire, come up a little bit, so I don't have to cut so much stuff out, I'm okay with that too. And we'll raise the front end to match. So let's put the string line on it, get a visual, and then I think what we will do is, I got my tape and I got a marker, and I think we're gonna really cut out what we're gonna be working with today, so that way we can move forward off of that. This was just to kind of facilitate and see where we're at, and we're still kind of tight, and I don't like that. So we'll probably come further back, maybe get rid of this thing. I don't need it because we're not going to run a center console. So I was like, well, if we're going to get rid of that, we might as well. We might end up like up in here is what I'm kind of thinking, but we'll have to see the distance. Maybe I can punch little holes, and then we can measure the distance, through here till it's like touching. That might be an easy way, so that way I'm not guessing. I can just put a rod in there, put my finger on it, pull it out, and go, oh, it's that. We got that much distance from here, there, so that way I know how far back to cut it, so we're not just mutilating stuff for no reason. Then we're going to give it some more working room back here, and we'll put the string on it. We'll see this brace. There's a brace underneath here, so I don't know if this comes out or what. The other thing too is I need room for a transmission tunnel or a safety loop, and I ordered my drive line yoke today from my boys over at War Performance, so that'll be in the mail, and that'll be here in a little while. So I think we just kind of make the hole big. We're not in a hurry. I want to make sure I have the yoke before we really start building stuff back up and over. If I don't have the yoke, we'll just make it kind of larger than it needs to be anyways. But let's do that. So I'll put the string line on. I'll show you guys, and let's get rolling. So we have a string line in place, and it goes back. It's pretty well centered. This isn't like an exact science, but it doesn't really need to be. This is just a visual representation for measurements, right? So if we were to measure, I got a little over 2 inches, right, from the string. I've got a 3.5-inch drive shaft, so you figure, that would be a 3-inch, so that's about a 3.5-inch drive shaft. So I've got a decent amount of movement from here to here, and like I said, a little here is going to be a lot back there, and then back there it looks like we got some room. Up here, we're 3, so you figure it's gonna be a 3-inch. It's about there, so we've got a few inches here, and then obviously the further back you go, it gets bigger. So I feel pretty good about this, actually. I thought it's better than I thought it was gonna be. And then wherever the yoke is, the only thing is wherever that ends up, you have like 6 inches back that you can go for the safety loop. So I just don't know where, if the yoke ends up, the safety loop would fit great back here behind this brace. So we'll have to see when the yoke comes in. We'll put it in, pull it out for a little bit of plunge, and then I'm imagining the yoke sitting somewhere here. Let's just say it into there. And get my 6-incher out over here. So let's just pretend. Yeah. See that if it was that far out from the U-joint, I mean, that puts me, it'd have to be, I know it's not gonna be out there, so that's the only thing, is I think that this is gonna be right in line kind of where the safety loop needs to be. So I'm almost debating just cutting this out and then put the safety loop in there, and that'll give me more upswing anyway, because this is where it gets tight because it's a little taller here. So maybe we'll cut this out and the safety loop can live in that area. So we'll have to think about that. But let's go up front, and again, here's my clearance there. See, we're kind of tight back here, but when it goes up, we got room. So I think maybe let's do this. Let's get a drill bit and punch holes, and then we'll find out where we have like at least an inch or so of clearance toward the front, because it gets bigger, you can see it, and that's how far forward we're gonna just cut this thing out, and we'll just make quick work of that. So, and then even back here we got a little bit of space, but maybe we'll widen this too. So let me go look, we'll make an executive decision, and we'll cut some more steel. Okay, I got an 1/8 inch drill bit, and if we put it through, see, like there's already holes right here. I can pull it out, and that's the room that we have to this hole that's already there, right? So not bad. It's about 3/4. So I'm betting if we just go up a little bit further, that's going to give me the clearance. And the reason I want to go up further is if I build it from here, I only have 1/2 inch clearance, right? From there. But if we go up a little bit more and I get the inch, I can just come down and keep it level, so it'll be taller. But again, like right here, I mean, I don't have very much clearance at all. So that's not a lot of breathing room. So I think we're gonna come from a little further back. We'll cut this dude off, and then we'll start punching holes and see where we end up. But I'm thinking it'll probably be up here a ways, another inch or so. So we'll just take, whoop, and cut it, and we'll make her bigger. So the inside of this line is what we're gonna take out. It's about a 3/4 inch right here, but up here it was like a solid inch. So I figured, you know what, this is all gunk that I'm gonna have to weld and deal with. So I figured we're just gonna make it go away, and then we'll have a solid inch up here, and then when we build the new piece, we can change the angle of it so it's flatter, right? And that'll give this a bunch of room back here. We can make it flatter and then come in more gradual like that. So yeah, it's a bit more work. If you were doing this on your own car and you're like, man, I don't fab and I don't do all that craziness, you might be able to just kind of fit it. I mean, it'd be against the floor, it'd be super tight. There were guys on here saying that they did it, but for my money and for this car, and then I have to have a blanket. I want room to be able to put the blanket in and out from underneath with everything bolted in. A little headache now is going to save a lot of headache, I think, later on. So it'll give it more room, hopefully some room for cooling, and lots of room for activity. So we'll cut this out. That is my final decision, so I'll cut that. We'll probably cut this a bit more, and then I think I'm going to wait till I get the yoke, because I need to measure exactly, but I think this is going to get cut, and I think I will run the safety loop. We will integrate it somehow, so maybe we'll have the loop in here and then have it bolted through the floor pan or whatever. We'll figure it out, and then I'll cover that with sheet steel. I think that that'll be an easy one to do, and then that way it's just integrated, so when this is all done, that boy's in there, and then we just have to make the cross member to hold things up, so that'll stay bolted in the car, and you'll be able to take the drive shaft through it to pull it out. So let's get to cutting, boys. Not gonna need that anymore. Huh. All right. Well, that escalated quickly. Ta-da! So there we are. So man, it's funny, it's still a little tight up here. So maybe we'll take it further up a little more. But that's right where it necks in. So yeah, I mean, we're already here. We're already partying. And punch a hole there and see how deep this is right on top. But yeah, you can see, I mean, I didn't have a lot of room. So technically, since we're already here and we're already getting jiggy with it, I could raise this up a little and really nail that driveline angle, but I just don't want to keep cutting way back if I don't have to. Although, with the string line in place, I don't think I'd have to take it all the way back, but I think I'd have to modify back there. But it's not as important that we're running this low. It's not a lowrider. I like the look of that, but if we got to bring it up a little bit, so we're not knocking the drive shaft on the bottom of the car, I'm okay with that. It's a little easier than making it a complete tunnel, just because I think it's cool, right? So let me look at this. We'll drill holes and we'll probably bring it up a little bit more. Maybe we can angle it, we'll see. Let me mess with it, we'll bring it back. Well, it escalated pretty quickly and we don't have much of a tunnel left, and I probably should have put the grinder down, but bam, couldn't help myself. Actually, when I got further and further up, when I was drilling those holes, it was touching the case here, but on top it was close. And when I cut it back where I thought we'd be good, I looked and you could see I just cut sheet metal and it was touching right here. So we took it up a little bit further, and then I grabbed the old handy dandy pliers, because it's just sheet steel, and I bent a little lip out. So it's tight right here, but that's the bend, and then we're gonna have plenty of room off of here, you know. So if you do one of these dogs, you know, the straight edge, you can kind of eyeball it and see, you know. So our tunnel won't be too obtrusive, but I want like an inch off of that. It's kind of what we're shooting for, roughly. So you guys get the idea. So it'll go back and blah blah blah. And then my fittings are here. This is an early style, so they both come out here. If it was a later, it would have one like back in this area somewhere. So I'd have to be mindful of that. But because we have this, and I don't really want to run the banjo fitting, I don't know if that restricts flow. It seems like it would, instead of having like a nice little 90 there. I will figure out the fitting situation if I have something that'll plug in, and then I can make little aluminum sweepers like as tight as I can. So when we build this, I know that that'll fit in there. So I think that's going to be the play for that. I guess technically, well, I can't really run soft line because then I'll just have this stupid rubber hose, because that'd be a tighter 90. So since I'm making the floor, I'll make a line, and then that way I know I can come out with aluminum, because I like to run the aluminum hard line on everything. So this is where I'm gonna stop for today. Like I said, now we've got some room for activities. At least I get to keep my hole over here, I guess. And then I'll have to find fittings or figure that out. Maybe we can see what we can do on that tomorrow. So that'll give me, because those things are gonna stick out again. So I'm almost thinking this is gonna get cut further back and it'll be more of a straight up and down, like over, because the passenger has plenty of foot room anyway. And then this has enough room, so I'm not really getting into this. It's kind of my footrest for the gas pedal. So I'm happy with that. So it'll grow a little bit and it'll encroach on this side a little bit more because of those lines. But ultimately it's gonna be better and easier for me to work on things and do stuff. And we'll probably bring this back a little straighter just to make my life easier. And then we'll make this thing in sections. I'll show you guys as we go when we get that far. But I think we'll probably trim a little more. We'll do the fitting stuff hopefully like tomorrow if I have them. I don't know if I have fittings. If not, I'll have to order them from my boys over at War. And then we will keep cutting stuff, and then hopefully my yoke will come in, and then we can put the yoke in, figure out the safety loop, and we're gonna slam all this back in, and I feel pretty good about it. I think it's gonna be much better doing it like this. And yeah, I didn't even know that was touching, because when you kind of look, you couldn't really see that part, right? Because the bend there and then up here. So I'm glad we kept cutting. We're just causing ourselves more work, but ultimately, like I said, it's gonna be better in the long run. So we'll just do it, and we'll do it to satisfactory. So that way, when we have to work on it in the future, we have room up underneath to slide blankets on and off, and then pull transmissions. I don't really want to pull them out. I just want to put it in one more time when it's built and go racing. But That's the plan. You guys know what to do. Like, subscribe, share. Till next time, I'm out.